Mic check, 1, 2. Mic check, 1, 2. 2025, 1, 2. All right. What's going on, YouTube? We're back at long last. It's 2025. I'm about I think today's the 3rd. Looking at the camera. We're 3 days into the new year, and if you know me, I am not really someone that makes like New Year's resolutions. Mostly because I feel like I'm constantly in a mode of just day by day wanting to make myself better. So for me, it's never really made a whole lot of sense to say like, okay, the year is over and now we're going to do boom, 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 boom by the end of 2025, for example. However, this year, I am definitely focusing more on YouTube. If you watched my first video a while back, I made right before I moved to Baltimore, I felt like in that moment I was really in a mode of here it comes. Like I'm going to get on this horse and start creating consistently and making YouTube more of a focused platform for me. But as some of my viewers and subscribers, thank you to you, have already pointed out, like there hasn't been a lot of follow-up with that yet. And that's because I haven't prioritized it or made the time for it, which I know I'm not the only one out there. I know if you're watching this, you're probably kind of in a similar boat maybe. You don't really know where to start, or you don't have the time, or you're having trouble making the time or being consistent with your content creation. And that's okay. I just want, from me to you, give yourself a break. It takes time. It takes time to set things up, to build the time into your day, to cut videos and edit and sit down and be comfortable talking to nobody, talking to a lens, talking to someone in the future who may or may not want to watch this and listen to it, learn from it, be entertained by it, critique it, whatever. But all that aside, this is just me in this moment sitting down at the beginning of the year saying like, it's time to be consistent with this. Because fortunately, like right now, I feel like I'm finally in a good spot to do that. So this is week 1 of a weekly vlog series where I'm going to sit down right here in front of this camera and just speak off the top of my head about my jobs, what I'm doing on a week-to-week basis in terms of content creation, in terms of photography, videography, my day job, my side hustles, projects that I'm working on, and how I'm continuing to build myself as a creator. These are going to be short, pretty unscripted for the most. I have a couple talking points that I'm going to write down and go through for this one, but they're pretty candid, honestly, because what I want this to be is just a rolling journal of what this next year is going to look like and how I'm progressing toward full-time content creation. And I hope that for you, you find value in learning from not only some of the skills and lessons that I'm going to drop in these vlogs and other videos that are going to come as a result, but also like the mistakes and woes and things that I'm going through on a day-to-day basis, like creative block, burnout, time management difficulties, juggling multiple responsibilities, taxes, like those kind of things that freelancers and content creators are going through every day, but sometimes can't talk about or don't have good outlets or people to relate to. They're also going through those same things. So I hope that these vlogs can be a resource to just let you know that like there are a lot of other people, not even just other people, there are a lot of other people out there that are on this grind and going through these similar things. And it's like totally okay and normal to be feeling the things that you're feeling, the stresses, the highs, the lows. So yeah, week 1, 2025 vlog. Here are a couple of talking points that I have written down on the back of an envelope. Super formal script here. We've got, I think, 8 words. The thing that's on the top of my mind right now, and it's something that I really want to be talking about a lot more formally in more long-form videos, things that are to come out, is resourcefulness. Not only in this field, in your career as a freelancer, but also in your life. Like, be relentlessly resourceful. I think about this a lot in terms of photography, videography, because like gear's really expensive. Finding and buying good gear is really hard and costly. However, I really think that there's a lot of room always to be resourceful with your purchases and remain really vigilant, looking for things that can help you and serve you in the long term for a really reasonable cost or free. A lot of, and I'll talk more about this in my future videos, but like a lot of things in my studio behind me, in my gear kit, I've either purchased used or I've found like literally on the street. And the reason this is at the top of my head right now is about 45 minutes ago, I was on my way home from dropping off a resume actually for a marketing manager position down the street. And I'll shoot this in real time. I was driving down the street and I saw this black 1x1 shelf next to a dumpster. As they say, one person's trash is another person's treasure, right? Like someone discarded this. It's not in perfect condition. It's got some wear. However, I brought it back. I hit it with some cleaner and now it's going to sit up in my studio indefinitely for as long as it holds together and hold gear or cameras or books. And the difference here is like, could I have ordered this from Amazon or could I have gone to IKEA and spent, $40, $60 or whatever something like this is worth today and bought it and brought it up here and built it? Sure. But instead, I was on the lookout. I saw it, picked it up, and that time was not carved out. So I saved on time. I didn't spend any money for it. And ultimately, it's going to do the same thing that something like that, which I would have bought, spent the time to build and put together, it's going to do the same thing, and it cost me nothing. So just a really small, like, candid tip, because I can't emphasize this enough, and I think I'm going to talk about it at length more and more, especially when it comes to purchasing like used gear, lenses, camera bodies. Like the amount that you can save in the long term on the purchases is monumental in this game, 100%. So be relentlessly resourceful is at the top of my head right now, moving into 2025 vlog week 1. And that goes into my second point, which I'm not going to talk a whole lot about because I think there's more room to talk about it later, but that's invest long and buy used. I had someone a young photographer that I met recently on a shoot, ask me, I could see, I showed up to a soccer game and he came up to me and I could definitely see like the fire and the passion in his eyes. And we started talking about gear and he followed up later and he's like, I'm looking at this other camera, I think I should upgrade soon. He had like a Canon R6, I think. And I told him like, 2 things. One, invest in lenses before you buy a camera body. The testament to that is sitting right here. And I can't wait to talk more about this camera. I've already talked a little bit about it, but it's my Canon T3i. It's the first camera I ever purchased with my first professional paycheck, actually, 10 years ago. And 3 weeks ago, I took this very setup out right here and shot some of my favorite images at a DJ set in DC. It's still kicking. It was a long-term purchase and it's still totally viable. I also bought it used on Craigslist. Now that I think about it, I drove to Washington, paid like, I think $200 less than it was, but it was brand new. So invest long, invest in things that are going to serve you indefinitely, and buy used. Money is hard, and starting out, especially if you're a new videographer, a new producer, a new content creator, starting out's tough, but you'll get there step by step. Your kit will grow. Your client base will grow. Your skills will broaden really quickly, and it will become more and more rewarding. But you have to be persistent, and you have to be consistent. And that's my last point. I'm going to end this video with like something that's more for me than anything, but I know that it transcends to you probably watching this as well. not only if you're thinking about making a YouTube channel or starting a content creation stream or setting up a publication schedule, et cetera, et cetera. This is whatever you're doing. Maybe you want to read more in 2025. Maybe you want to start working out more, whatever your resolution is. The key to that is building the time and being consistent with it, because there are very few things in this world that you can just do once and then have them pay off indefinitely. You have to work at them. You have to show up every day, just like it's your job, and continue building, growing, and developing not only whatever you're doing, but yourself as well. So the last point here is be consistent. Think about what you want to accomplish in the next 365 days or the next week or however long, and write it down, set up an accountability schedule, and be real with yourself too about how much time can you put into this. For me, it's sitting right here, looking within and talking about what these last 10 years has looked like. I've had a YouTube channel for a long time, and mostly until now, it's been like a portfolio page where I've delivered client work, or I've posted small projects or short films or things like that. But what I really want to do, and I've already started doing, is making that shift into talking more about the meta process of the mic, the doing this, the lighting, the things that go into all of the shoots and the work that I've done over the past decade, and breaking it down so that you can be entertained by it, hopefully learn from it. And just like for me, 8-10 years ago, I was watching videos like this.
And I still do every day.
Taking in as much knowledge and the lessons from other people who were consistent and built out the time to just be open about their journey, and who were humble enough to actually open up about that and say look, this is hard. I'm not perfect. I'm not a savant, but I'm driven. I'm passionate. And more than anyone else, I know where I want to go, and this is how I'm going to get there. And this is how the journey has been going so far. So that's what these vlogs are going to be for me. That's my promise to you. If that's at all interesting, I hope it is. If it is, please do the thing. Hit like, hit subscribe, send this video to someone who you think might enjoy a candid vlog style talk about photography, videography, tech, editing, anything like that. And let's get it. Let's make 2025 a great one. And I just want to thank you. If you're already subscribed, I really, really want to thank you, because you're part of the motivation for me sitting here and doing this. Your support is going to be, hopefully what gets me to the next step. And without you, none of this would be possible. Without the viewer, without my friends, my community. No one has ever done it alone, and no one ever will, I suppose. So on that note, I'll get off my wax philosophic soapbox and say thank you for viewing, and Happy New Year, and I'll see you in the next one.